Welcome back. Roughly 350 people convicted of misdemeanor marijuana crimes in Manhattan will have their offenses hidden from public criminal records under a recent class action settlement. Joining us now to share more about this are Kate Wagner-Goldstein, senior staff attorney at Legal Action Center, and Judy Whiting, general counsel of the Community Service Society of New York. Welcome to both.
Thank you.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about this class action settlement, and what does this mean for New Yorkers?
Go ahead.
Either one.
So, New York State has had a law that allows people to seal a range of convictions in effect since 2017. But under this law, less than 1% of the people who are eligible to seal their records under the law have been able to access it. So a number of advocates and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office were looking for solutions to this problem. We wanted to find more efficient ways for people to be able to access this kind of sealing relief under this law. And so we came up with the idea of a class action and brought a class action on behalf of people who were eligible under a narrow, only some of the people who are eligible under this law are covered by this class action. So this particular class action covers marijuana misdemeanor possession convictions, and only a certain type of those, because this mechanism was somewhat specific. But for the people who fall into that category, their records will now be sealed under this law without them having to take action.
Which is great. And again, it does just apply to Manhattan, but we are hoping to replicate it elsewhere.
So what does that mean for someone who was convicted of a marijuana offense? Does that mean that, employers cannot ask about that, or what would that mean?
Well, normally employers in New York City couldn't ask about it anyway, because we have something called the New York City Fair Chance Act, which prohibits asking that question until a conditional job offer has been made. But once that conditional job offer has been made, an employer can ask about, do you have any criminal convictions? And if these were your sole convictions, as they would be for these clients, they can answer no.
And you were saying that it only applies to certain marijuana offenses. What does that mean?
So it's important that people recognize that this law is much broader than the people covered by this class action. So this class action was limited to people who have only 1 or 2 misdemeanor marijuana possession convictions under a certain subdivision in Manhattan. And so those people are part of this class. But other people are also able to apply individually to seal their records. And that includes a much wider range of convictions. It's not limited to marijuana convictions, but it is most misdemeanors and many felonies. The main limitation is that the convictions have to be at least 10 years old or 10 years since release from incarceration, and people can have no more than 1 or 2 criminal convictions to be eligible to apply. There are some other limitations, and there are free legal service providers like us and our partners in this effort, and we want to make clear that we have a number of partners in this effort, and we will talk about that soon, but we can answer questions about people's eligibility if there are questions.
Right. And now, so one thing that I want to know, with a lot of class action suits, the one with Capital One, for instance, anyone can get on board that's been affected. Can anyone get on board with this, and how would they go about doing this?
It's limited to the 350 people whose actual cases were brought to the court. So it's not a class action, like you say, where people will submit claims or whatever. There are specific individuals who are affected by this case. So it's just a limited class of about 350 people.
And I know you were saying that, employers can't ask in New York anyways. So why is this so important?
Well, employers can ask. They can't ask initially, but they can ask if they're intending to hire somebody past the conditional offer phase. They can ask. And we have clients who have had these convictions in the past who've been denied jobs based on them. So the important thing is that they will no longer have to divulge these convictions because they've been sealed. So this means that people who ordinarily in the past might have been denied jobs or because of the convictions will now not have that happen to them.
And if somebody wanted to reach out to you for legal help or just advice, would you advise that, or how can they reach out to you?
So both of our organizations have phone lines where people can call and they will receive a return call to find out about their particular questions. The issues that our office addresses are overcoming barriers or issues that relate to having a criminal record, in addition to HIV, certain concerns around confidentiality and discrimination related to that, and substance use disorder.
So for us, people could call our hotline, and we will then, like Legal Action Center, return their call. Our legal department focuses exclusively on reentry related matters, and so we would be able to have one of our attorneys or paralegals advise the person. And if representation is necessary, we can do that too.
One thing that I think is so interesting, why did you all get involved in this? Why?
We were there at the beginning when this law was passed, and I think we felt a real frustration that so few people had, taken advantage of it, and that the process was so complicated. It's an arduous process to go through to even file for one of these cases. We were looking for ways to streamline that, so it was out of frustration, I think.
Yes. I agree. And that's an important piece. One of the things that was remarkable here was that this class action was brought by all three of the institutional public defenders in New York City, Legal Aid, New York County Defender Services, and Neighborhood Defender Services, in addition to our two reentry services organization, in addition to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. So basically, these organizations that are all working on this issue all joined together out of shared frustration at the unnecessarily burdensome process to achieve this relief that will benefit so many people.
Well, that's interesting. All right, well, just give your information one more time for our viewers before we wrap up.
So the Legal Action Center has additional information at www.lac.org. And we also have a hotline at 212-243-1313.
And CSS's website is www.cssny.org. Our hotline for this purpose is 212-614-5441.
Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more Open right after this.